Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Thakadash. I'd like to give a double honor to the elders and to the apostles of GMS Great Millstone who do rule well, and the salutation to the hope for elect. It's your brother Damawa from the GMS Cleveland branch coming back with another video. And this is just an update, all right, because there's wars and rumors of wars damn near every day now, all right, and we know at the moment, okay, Iran and the U.S. is making headlines. All right, they've been bombing each other. All right, for the last couple of days. Now we don't know the whole full damage. All right, of the situation. Okay, because of course these politicians and these news pundits are not going to be honest about what's really going on. All right, but we know, all right, through these scriptures, all right, that the Lord has a lot going on. Okay, it's a lot of back and forth, all right, and it's a lot of hatred and it's a lot of pride being shown, all right, from the side of these damn Edomites, man, the so-called white man. All right, this man is very bold, all right, and crafty with basically telling you that he's going to take what is yours, or he's going to control what should be under your control. He has no problem with taking it, okay? And he expect everybody, all right, to allow him to continue to control the world, all right? But as we can see, all right, the Lord is putting a spirit on these heathen nations, all right, to rise up against this man, all right? Because just 10, 20 years ago, this was never would have been a thing, all right, to stand up against America, okay? But now Iran has not only been able to withstand America, all right, but has been able, okay, to basically stop them in the tracks, all right. But we're gonna get the scripture real quick, and we're gonna play this clip, all right, to show you that at the end of the day, it's all about the United States trying to seize dominance and control, all right, because we have to understand that the dollar's crashing, all right. They got a plan for that, all right. So they helping it crash, but at the same time, they're trying to hold their hegemony, right, over these other nations as well, all right. And these other nations know what is the next step for these countries, all right. And that's eventually it's going to be the RFID chip, all right. But it's going to be the universal income first, all right, and things like this, all right. So all these other countries are trying to get ahead of the turn as well, all right. But America is trying to reestablish that dominance that it once had, all right, which it don't have anymore, okay, by the way of Russia and China, all right. But anyway, this is let's go to Revelation 2, start at verse 5. It says, Salakia, Revelations 18 and verse 3. It says, for all the nations have drunk in the head here, Salakia, in the head it says Babylon is falling, all right. And that's what we're seeing by the way of these wars and rumors of wars, all right. America spreading itself thin, because if you didn't know, all right, this is the book of Revelation, all right. And the old Babylon, we already know, all right, what's going on with that, because that's in Iraq, all right. And so Babylon, that original Babylon, all right, is still here, all right. This Babylon is talking about America, because America is the place that pushes out confusion, all right. A boy with a girl, a man can be just as strong as a woman. All these things are the baseline, all right, of the wickedness that you see today, all right, because with this, nobody want to play their role, all right, that God gave them, all right. But this is Revelation 18 and 3. It says, for all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, all right. And when you go into it, for all the nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. Basically, America has a way of signing policy, all right, that only benefits them, all right. And even if they do sign the policy, they don't hold true, all right, to the treaty or to whatever guarantees that they put on their end. All right. But it says, for all the nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. All right. And this is how this place gets you too. All right. America is the leaders of this place. All right. The Edomites. All right. They're very crafty at lying. All right. It says, for all the nations have drunk of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her. All right. And that's why this Strait of Hormuz situation is becoming one of the staples, all right, in this war, all right, because it's basically what? Control, all right, because right now America is dwindling on their oil, all right, and so not only did they fuck around and found out, all right, that they can't even really destroy these people because they got missiles from underground. They got bases underground, and the missiles that America has really doesn't penetrate them that deep. All right, now they can do some damage to the outside stuff. All right, but as far as really being able to seize control over that area, all right, they can't do it. All right, and so America is in a new position. All right, and now we're about to see, all right, how these so-called Edomites really think. All right, because basically, if it's yours, they want it, they're going to take it. All right, Revelation 18:3 says, for all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her. How do you think the kings of the earth have did that? By signing their treaties, by making these pacts and these leagues, all right, that only do they don't do anything for the people of that nation. All right, but basically Esau may promise to build up a section or a city, all right, but in exchange, all right, adopt some of the philosophies and some of the talking points, all right, that America pushes out, like democracy, women, equal rights, all these different things that breaks tradition, all right, and breaks the cultures. Okay, it says, for the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. All right, and a part of the delicacies of America, all right, is that America had a stronghold on all the routes, all right, from all goods from around the world. All right, they basically had the petrodollar. All right, these other nations probably like the Strait of Hormuz. It's over there closer to the land of Iran. All right, but best believe America has always had a way, all right, to establish its dominance in other countries' land. All right, and so now that Iran is standing up to them and making it hard for them to seize control of a very, very, very important sea passage, all right, that allows the Western Hemisphere, all right, to receive goods, all right, via trade, all right, the fastest way, all right, through the Strait of Hormuz, okay? And so this is really crippling America, all right? And instead of them understanding that Iran has the power, all right, these devils just want to disregard them, all right, and take what they believe, all right, they got the right to have, all right? But yet and still they don't understand that other people may feel the same way, all right? But it says, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies, all right? And so a lot of people is on Trump back right now, all right, behind the scenes, all right, getting him to figure out one way or another, all right, to get this oil, to seize control, all right, of the Strait of Hormuz, okay? And now they're talking about sending in ground troops, all right, knowing that the area of Iran is damn near impossible for you to overthrow, especially by troops invading, all right? But check this out.
And like she said, you would think that maybe they would say, okay, we've had enough. We're hearing that they're begging Donald Trump to come to the table, but publicly they're saying, we're ready for more war. So, again, not making it very easy on.
And this is the pride of these devils, not to cut it off, But just real quick, this is the pride of these devils. Why would Iran lie if so many of their people was really, if they was catching a lot of casualties and it was really very hellish on the people over there? Why would they lie? Why would they not want to stop if they was really being defeated? Because you want to know why? Because they're not being defeated. And really what America is boasting on over here, all right, basically it's not even affecting them over there. All right, and they're basically, they don't want to deal with Trump. They don't want to make no peace deal with America. They don't want to listen to America. So now you seeing these Edomites as a whole throw a temper tantrum. All right, because basically they thought that they can bully people, all right, forever. All right, but the power that the Lord has gave them, as it says in Job 9:24, the earth is given to the hand of the wicked. Right, that same power the Lord is taken away from them. Okay, and now they can't believe it. All right, but it's happening.
Donald Trump, it almost seems like he has no choice but to wipe them out of power.
You see, because you didn't want to deal with them, because you jumped in bed with their enemy, and because you decided to war against them. Now you have to wipe them out. All right, so we have to understand who we dealing with here. All right, let's get this real quick, because a lot of people really don't understand how the mindset of the so-called average white man, We can get this one in Psalms 140:1. It says, "Deliver me, O Lord, from the evil man. Preserve me from the violent man." All right, and basically dealing with Esau Edom, that's the way that he goes about handling business. You just heard him say it. He said, well, they're not leaving Donald Trump no choice but to wipe him out. All right, why? Because they don't want to do business with you, with your Americans. All right, and this is what they do. It's like being in a jealous relationship with an ex. All right, we heard Trump call them all these words and all these other things. All right, but why else would you think a nation don't want to stop something that's obviously affecting their everyday life to life? All right, unless they're standing up against something that they feel like that they're getting misused or mistreated, or basically injustice is being done. All right, and Americans, they'll never come out with that because they're so prideful. All right, like this place is so like they boast all the goddamn time. All right, from the lowest to the highest over here. Okay, and even in this type of war situation, all right, this has to be the most tackiest president that we ever saw. All right, to to put out tweets, all right, about these very important life decision moments. All right, you can find this nigga on Twitter. All right, just to show you that America, man, is falling, man. The prestige that it's had, all right, the seriousness that it had, all right.
But you heard them say that, and I see the USAs dropping in the comments. Drop those USAs if you like the way that things are unfolding here, just getting very aggressive, saying, you know what, we're taking over. But Iran is coming back and threatening the Strait of Hormuz is a hard red line. They're saying we're willing to die on this hill. We're going to see. Let's go ahead, though, and continue on with the video.
You see how proud they are? They just know that they got this in the bag. They don't even understand that the Lord got them in a trick bag. All right? He that's sitting in the heavens should laugh, man. He got them in derision. All right? Because he got them Edomites really think that they're about to go on another world tour, all right, to seize their control, not knowing that this is the last time you niggas is about to be ahead of anything. All right, so the Lord's about to send you out with a big bang. Okay, but in order for you to walk into this trap, you got to think that you able to outsmart it. You have to think that you're able to outbeat it, and that's where the specialty of the Lord come in. That what he say? Matter of fact, let's get that. Damn, I hope it come up. Salaki, give me 1 second. Here we go. This Psalm 7. We're going to start at verse 11. It says, God judges the righteous, and God is angry with the wicked every day. All right. So let's not forget, all right, that these people have did a whole lot of destroying, conquering, right? Misjudging, all right, breaking down families, destroying families, all right, moving people from here to there, all right. So they got a lot to pay for. Verse 12, and those people, all right, I'm speaking about the so-called white man, Esau Edom, all right. It says, if he turn not, he will whet his sword. If he have bent his bow and made it ready. Slocky. Let me read it again. Verse 12. If he turn not, he will whet his sword. He have bent his bow and made it ready. Right, man. So these other nations, all right, they already got the missiles, all right, that's capable of destroying America. All right, they already ready. All right. Verse 13 says, he have also prepared for him the instruments of death. He ordaineth his arrows against the persecutors. All right, man. Because who the false accuser, man? The so-called white man. All right. And basically, okay, the Lord already got the arrows, all right, already ready, set, go for this place. All right. Satan 1, Satan 2. All right. Matter of fact, they just did some testing on them, what, 2 months ago, a month ago. All right. And everything looks to be A-okay. All right. So the Lord already have, all right, how America is going to be destroyed. He already have that ready. He already have the archers ready. He already have them prepared. All right. It says, behold, he travaileth with iniquity and have conceived mischief and brought forth falsehood. All right. And that's the whole simple reason why they even over there. All right. Doing all this for what? For the greater of Israel. All right. Trying to spread territory for a bunch of people that ain't even from over there. You know what I'm talking about? They ain't even those people. All right. So basically everything that they do is for a falsehood. All right. Because we know that they joined that war. All right. Dealing with the Israelis. All right. And they was doing what? They was trying to take over Gaza. All right. And all this trip and push out the Palestinians. All right. When they were just brought over there in 1948. All right. Which was a war that night. Okay, when they landed over there. All right, so it goes to show you, okay, this shit was already written about, man. Everything that is going on now, all right, is what must happen, okay? And people don't understand that the lie is only going to stand up for so long, all right, before the Lord get tired of hearing it, okay? Psalm 7 and 15, it says, he made a pit and digged it and is falling into the ditch which he had made, all right? And that was the main point. Okay, because basically that's how the Lord judges, all right, the wicked. All right, basically he told Pharaoh, I'm going to harden your heart. All right, so basically like the Heavenly Father, okay, want the so-called white man to feel like that he's in control. He wants him to feel like that he has the advantage, not knowing that these nations hold the capability of blowing America off the map. All right, and with the head nod from the Heavenly Father, they're going to do it.
Video footage so you can see the latest.
What is the strategy behind consecutive days of strikes? Is it essentially hitting targets as intelligence comes in? Is it hitting a few targets, waiting to see Iran's response and hitting a few more?
At Constellation Schools Purist Community, we help every child feel seen, love to learn, and know they may.
I think consecutive days is keeping it in this limited war process where there's not a full-scale bombing campaign that we saw earlier this year, but it's continuing to strike at Iran's capabilities. We heard from Secretary Hegseth when he was in the Oval Office maybe last week. He was talking with President Trump about continuing to hit Iran hard. And he mentioned that any capability that Iran thinks it's rebuilt, they're going to strike. So it's a combination of hitting things that haven't been hit before, but also hitting things that Iran may have been able to rebuild in this process. And then I mentioned the small speedboats because those are, you know, you think about a river and small speedboats doesn't seem that dangerous, but Iran can really use this Mosquito fleet of boats to roll up to commercial shipping, intimidate them at the very least, or try and launch attacks from these speedboats. And so they have a vast inventory of those. So the strikes, while are not super centered on the speedboats, that's an example of a capability.
And she is trying her best to explain it without making America look weak. You see, and this is the pride that these people have, because it's not that the people, and when I say the people, I'm talking about the citizens of America. It's not like that they really understand what's really going on, all right? But they're being led by a bunch of Satan worshiping, all right, the devils basically, okay? Not knowing that these people, all right, know that this shit, okay, it's not about to go like how they think, all right? And their next step, all right, that they're trying to get the American people ready for, all right, is the ground troops. Now, everything that we've been saying, all right, has come to pass, all right? And this is part of that pride, because it says in the scriptures, all right, that they think that that they would never sit as a widow, all right? And so a lot of their population, a lot of these Americans is about to get ready to go die, all right? And they don't even know. Okay, but we told you that these things was going to happen, and these people want to find any excuse to make it seem justifiable, all right? But basically what you're fighting for is something that ain't even yours. You don't even have no business over there. You don't have nothing to do with nothing over there, all right? But yet and still, it's always these fucking white people, always somewhere that they ain't welcome, all right? Trying to tell somebody else what to do and how to do it, all right? To hammer the whole earth, all right? How is it cut asunder? All right, because the Lord is going to allow these heathen nations, all right, to look at America and understand that, oh, you just as weak as we, right? You just like us. You only got so much. You only strong to carry us, all right. And now the Lord has put the spirit on these wild men, right? On these Iranians, all right, to give them problems with speedboats. The same way with our brothers, right? Who they like to call Indians, all right, but they God, all right, the North American Indians, all right, they couldn't even take them, they couldn't even fuck with them, all right, they had the guerrilla warfare tactics, tearing their ass out the frame, all right, and then they had to come back with what? The Lord blessed them with what? With the Gatling gun. That's how they seized control. But other than that, all right, don't let them folks fool you, man. Them Spaniards were getting their ass tore out the frame as well, all right, even with their guns and all that old other shit. All right, so we have to understand that it's about what the Lord wants. It ain't about who got the most jets or who got the biggest missiles. No, hell no. All right, it's all about the Heavenly Father and the prophecies that He has lined up. All right, and now it's just time for you guys to fall. All right, and guess what? You're not going to go easy. And guess what? We were having no other way. All right, because you sure didn't take this motherfucking world easy.